So in the first exercise, what we wanted to do was reuse this block of code and reuse that inside of a custom element. So we can just, first of all, drop this into a template tag. Then write a script tag. So we need to create an element. How can I create an element? Object.create prototype, and then what else? We need a callback, right?
They said we don't need an element to create an element.
If it's actually.
What?
Oh, this is for the first one.
We can either use created, in this case, or attached. Let's use attached. And we also need to do what? Register an element. Right? This one is going to be called FCC logo. Cool. Let me define my element. And I'm just going to print something over here. Okay, same thing as the first one. You're just registering an element. And now I need to grab the content of this and put it on my element. So just clone the template and inner HTML that. So I'm going to create a new variable, template, template, and then I'm going to access the content attribute of that. And then I'm going to create a new variable called clone, which is template.clone node true, because I want to get the children as well. And now that I have the clone, I can just, this is an object, so if I try to inner HTML this, it's going to give me this. So I need to append using append child. So we have seen that before. Now I have this. So this is using the same height and the same original width, which is 184 for 164. I'm just gonna declare this. And if you want to create a new attribute like size, like you did, so we could do that, 300, and you want to apply this size for both width and height, we could create a variable called size, which gets not this template. Let's get a template first. Let's clone it first. Let's get from the clone version. So we can get that. Oops, sorry. I was in the right. So I'm querying, I'm getting the attribute size of my element, okay? This is what I'm getting. Size.
Which they both need each other, right? You need this get
do this, what's going to be the result of size?
But if you,
Got it?
yeah,
So we have the size. We can change we can query selector that image and change the width, right? What I'm doing over here.
You're changing the size from within JavaScript.
So based on my attribute definition, I'm overriding these two values over here. Cool? Makes sense? Awesome. And also just as an example of what you can do with templates by itself or inside of a custom element. So the reason why I'm showing each part differently is for you to see the value of each spec. There are many cases that like you want to build a component, but you don't need shadow DOM, or you don't need a certain thing. Like custom elements you probably need all the time. But there are many cases where you don't need all those stuff. And there are some companies that are doing that, like GitHub. They created an element called time elements. So you see all these things over here on GitHub's page. This is a custom element. This is a web component. So they are extending the default time element, and they have this time ago where they get this information and they convert this to a better way, like to something that you can actually see it. But they are not using shadow DOM, for example. So that's the reason why I'm showing each spec separately.
It's the analogy you drew earlier about HTML5, how we're implementing different parts of the spec, and the same is probably going to be true for web components.
Exactly. So, and you can use that outside of a web component. In this case, all I want to do is stop concatenating stuff. When you think about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the most important thing is separating concerns. Your HTML is your structure, is your markup. Your CSS is your style. Your JavaScript is your behavior. If I'm putting tags on my JavaScript, if I'm putting style on my JavaScript, if I'm putting style on my HTML like this, so this is like, this is what we call code smell. Like this doesn't smell good because this is not gonna be, like you should have your style on a separate.
I think Ray called it dirty. I
Exactly.
think that's what he called it.
So this is like a general concept of separation of concerns. And we are breaking this. We are injecting markup on our JavaScript. And this is not a good thing. If you just take a look to this file, pretty small, no big deal, it works, looks fine. I can just go with this. But if you're making a big application, if you're making something for real, and you want your code to be maintainable, you need to do the right thing.
Yeah, that just looks totally crappy.
Yeah.
I mean, like your code editor doesn't even, like when you try to do HTML inside JavaScript, your code editor's like, sorry man, you're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm not going there with you.
Yeah.
It won't even be code completion.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are going to convert this to HTML templates, and just that. we're not going to put this on a custom element. We already seen that. I'm just going to convert this to HTML templates. So I want to stop concatenating strings. I don't want HTML on my JavaScript. This is wrong. And I may ended up with more lines of code that I actually need, but I'm going to do this because that's the right way to do it. So what do you think is the best solution to this? Any ideas?
Cold fusion.
I would say put spans around each one of the code parts that you're going to include in your template, parts of HTML,
Mm-hmm.
and give them IDs of code 1, code 2, code 3, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then take out the variables, the airport code .name, and put that in the script.
Mm-hmm.
Give those variable names, and then plug with the script, and you can plug those in, so you never HTMLs for each of those span IDs.
Awesome. Cool. That
And
sounds
then you can do a loop like
Mhm.
you did already.
that sounds pretty good. That sounds a pretty good idea. So I'm gonna create a template tag, and I'm going to start bringing that markup that I had, right? So I'm just gonna copy and paste this and start removing stuff. Okay, I don't need this. Nope, 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 nope. I also don't need this font size over here. Oops, too much. Just turn it on. And I like your idea, Bob, so I'm just gonna remove this, those spaces over here.
Well, it's cool to hold it as a space holder, like we've, at least that's what I do, so you know it goes there, you're replacing it anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
I just left city, state, name, all in there as
Mhm.
placeholders.
Cool. So we can put some content. Yeah, that's true. So we can just put like city, state, and here's the airport, right? This is the format that we want in the end, right? But how are we going to access this? And because in the end, we will need to query selector that and change the content. So we can do what Bob said. We can wrap those things in spams to make it easier to get them out. So I'm just going to put some spam with ID, city, this one, state, and this one. In here it's like name. Oh, we already have the spam here, so just name. Cool. Same thing. Not changing anything over here. Same stuff. Awesome. So I'm just gonna clone this and check it out. What's gonna show to me. Just gonna comment this out for a second. And what I'm gonna do, so I need to grab the template, right? What else?
Loop, clone,
Loop clone.
populate.
Before going on our loop, let me just clone this and see what's going to show for me. So I can just create a var clone, template clone node, true, and I'm gonna append this on my URL over here. So the airport list, gonna put it there. span child. Top list item, it's right? This is what it's showing to me. There's still a space that I wanted here, so I'm going to put that. Okay. Have the space over there. This is the format that I want. So now we need to put real data. And to do so, we can just create this to have a for loop. What do I need to do inside of this for loop?
You need to put your clone in there, so every time you get a fresh clone.
So move this line over here.
Well, but don't you need 1028 in there too?
Let's check this out. So now we are outputting the same content. So now it's just a matter of changing what's
Okay,
inside
yeah,
there.
you just need to put in the code.
So we're going to query selector every single info that we have there. So we have name. We'll have city. And we have state. Right? And there we have it.
That's awesome. That's so powerful.
That's so powerful and that's so right. That makes sense. Look like sometimes you can take some more code, but if you are like the guy that is debugging this JavaScript, you can understand this. It's not concatenating stuff and like checking out if there's one character missing or whatever. So this is much better. I can move this code, this data to other file. But this looks so much better. If I want to maintain this block of code, I can just like change stuff here and change the HTML instead of going to the JavaScript code, go to the